Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Nonprofit Alliance Open House. My name is Vanessa Hall, the Director of Membership, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to pull up a chair with us. With me today, we have Shannon McCracken, our President and CEO. We also have Ann Hollingsworth, our VP of Government Affairs, Shelby Truxton, our VP of Internship, and on the chat will be Eddie Kyle, our Director of Marketing and Communications. And I have to introduce our Member Relations and Engagement Specialist, Clara Allen. And so as we get started, we'd like to hear from you and who's in the room. So in the chat, share your name, your organization, and one word that describes your biggest focus or challenge right now. This will give us a pulse check on not only who is in the room, but what is top of mind for you and your organization. So again, that's your name, organization, and one word that describes your biggest focus or challenge. And as you're doing that, we're going to jump right in, as I know your time is valuable. And today is really about sharing in real time what it means to have a seat at the table with the Nonprofit Alliance. We'll walk through our 3 Ps, which are policy, programs, and people, and then we'll open it up for a live Q&A. Our goal today is to show you how we promote, protect, and strengthen the nonprofit sector, and hopefully help you decide if joining this table makes sense for you and your team. And I appreciate everyone who is already starting to share in the chat. So please be sure to do that so that we could get a pulse check on who's in the room. And so that being said, I will now pass it to my colleague Ann Hollingsworth, who will speak on our first P, policy.
Vanessa, thank you so much and welcome everyone. I'm so excited to be here to be talking about our government affairs work at the Nonprofit Alliance. I'm going to focus on a few legislative and administration engagement highlights and close with some incredible contributions that our TNPA members make to help inform our advocacy work every day. So from data privacy to nonprofit protection to the U.S. Postal Service, we are tracking and influencing decision makers every day. In fact, I was just covering a House Ways and Means committee markup this morning just now to hop over to this. So never a dull moment in our sector. So first, just want to open with a longstanding goal of the Nonprofit Alliance has been a federal data privacy bill. And so we worked for over 14 months for a resulting Secure Data Act bill that was introduced on the House side in April of this year. So we worked closely with the Republicans on the House Energy and Commerce Data Privacy Working Group. We had 2 Hill days with TNPA members to talk about data privacy and the priorities there. Key inclusions in the bill that we ultimately endorsed includes a nonprofit exemption, a broad preemption of state laws, and no private right of action. The bill itself, just a status check, had its first hearing in June, and we are awaiting a subcommittee markup, although the calendar on the House side is rapidly closing for their August recess. But really good news and worthwhile efforts since my predecessor had worked on this goal for many, many years. Next is artificial intelligence. So I really wanted to flag that the Nonprofit Alliance has really been at the forefront of ethical AI and nonprofits. And we have regularly spoken at events such as the Fundraising AI Conference. And most recently, I have joined Blackbaud's AI for Social Impact Working Group and will be teaching a class there on AI and nonprofits. The overall Hill focus, which is very fluid right now, is that members of both parties have raised concerns around child protection, chat boxes, misinformation, environmental and energy impacts of data centers, and overall concerns about trust with constituents and maintaining that. Congresswoman Trahan introduced a federal AI legislative bill. It is bipartisan, and it was just introduced in June. So we met and sat down with her lead staffer that drafted this framework for the bill to talk about some of the priorities on the ethical AI side for us. The bill itself is frankly not going to move this Congress, but could be reintroduced in the next Congress. So a good way to establish that working relationship. And then obviously we're tracking the Trump administration's multiple executive orders and policies on AI, notably around a national AI legislative plan and multiple executive orders, primarily focused on job creation of the sector and a lack of regulation for the AI sector. Next is the U.S. Postal Service. Obviously, this is a big priority for our sector, recognizing the impacts on things such as mail rate increases have huge impacts on our sector given our reliance on mail for fundraising and many other issues. TNPA works with Keep Us Posted, an advocacy organization, and are a member of the Mailers Technical Advisory Committee. And we work together on a lot of advocacy initiatives, particularly on the Hill. A recent thing to flag for all of you is that Postmaster General Steiner testified on the Senate side multiple times on the House and Senate, but most recently was testifying about the drastic measures that are need to be taken so that they do not run out of money, which is estimated to happen in early 2027. A rumored possibility of a $6 to $8 billion supplemental funding still has not been submitted, and is very unlikely in this Congress to move at all, which adds an additional layer of concern for the feasibility of the USPS moving forward. Next is the combined federal campaign. So, for any of you that are familiar with this, and I've raised this before, in some of our advocacy, but this allows TNPA to quickly activate when we need to. And in August of last year, we heard there was a rumor that the Office of Personnel Management was considering putting a pause on the 2025 campaign. And so we activated within a coalition space to get a letter together of over 400 nonprofit organizations to push for the continuation of the combined federal campaign, which is the biggest workplace giving program, and I know many of you are familiar with it. OPM reversed its decision a week following our letter, and so the 2025 campaign moved forward, although between the government shutdown and some of the bureaucratic hurdles by OPM, it wasn't as successful as previous years. Where we're at now on this is a winding down of the CFC is ongoing. Although an official announcement of ending the CFC has not happened, we have activated successfully members of Congress. In fact, a Senate and House letter led by Congressman Raskin, with over 40 members of Congress pushing to maintain the combined federal campaign, went out in May. So proud of that effort. Other issues that we're closely tracking is on nonprofit sector scrutiny. And this is on the Hill, this is on the administration. Many of you, I'm sure, saw the indictment of the Southern Poverty Law Center. TNPA put out a blog on that issue, citing that this was a clear escalation in the targeting of nonprofit organizations. There were a couple of hearings on Capitol Hill focused on the SPLC. Our message in advance of those hearings that we communicated was clear that it doesn't matter whether you support the SPLC or not. This is an escalation that is troubling to all in our sector, and we communicated that pretty clearly. The second issue is the Office of Management and Budget posted a 400-page rule a couple of months ago that could potentially impact billions of dollars of federal grants over about 100,000 nonprofit organizations. It would make it easier for political appointees to make decisions or cancel grants. The process for moving forward to appeal a decision is very limited. And ultimately, we were part of a coalition that had a letter of over 2,000 signatures that NCN led, and almost 500,000 public comments submitted to them to talk about the concerns that were raised there. So this is a really big deal that probably hasn't been in the press enough. To close, I just want to say we are so excited about all the ways that TNPA members can engage with us. We have a Government Affairs Committee, a Data Brain Trust, we have Hill Days, we produce bi-monthly legislative briefings so you can ask questions, and we have a new TNPA Connect resource that Vanessa has pulled together, and we're so proud of. So I will stop there. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Anne. And we'll pass it over to our next P, which is programs, and Shelby's going to kick us off for that.
Thank you, Vanessa, and hello, everybody. So again, my name is Shelby Truxon. I'm in charge of our Leading Edge Student Internship Program that aims to introduce college students, including those in underrepresented communities and first generation student population, to career opportunities in the nonprofit sector. So since its inception in 2022, we have made a lot of progress alongside employers such as yourselves, including we've made 6 full-time hires, we've made 59 internship matches, and we have reached out and made connections with at least 50 area schools, including HBCUs and community colleges. And so we offer multiple ways for you and your employees to get involved and partner with us in our efforts to usher in the next generation of nonprofit industry professionals. And so starting one very important way is to host an intern at your organization. We're always looking for both nonprofits and companies who support nonprofits to host university students for 10 weeks over the summer. And then together we partner with you to identify a diverse pool of qualified candidates, also to plan ahead for the summer and connect you to other employers for ongoing support throughout the internship. And so as a result, you'll not only join us in our efforts, but you also save time and resources on recruitment. You get needed help around the office, and you advance your own workforce diversity goals that you might have. So we also offer, as a side note, we also offer micro internships where you can hire students to do short-term projects for you if you're not able to hire them full-time or hire them for the summer. Another way to get involved is through volunteer opportunities. So we also offer various ways for your employees to share their expertise with the younger generation and to grow professionally through our mentor directory and webinar speaking opportunities, including our Career Day webinar that we do in January, our Next Gen webinar panel that we do in June with young professional speakers on that panel, and our What I Wish I Knew webinar that we do every July. We just had it yesterday, actually, and it was great. So, lastly, we also have partnership opportunities for you. And this is where companies particularly can demonstrate their corporate values, gain more exposure through sponsorship opportunities. You can do this by creating meaningful steps to reflect the varied experiences of the communities you serve. It's also a way to invest in the future by supporting our next gen professionals in the sector. And also a way to prioritize your professional development and employee growth, as well as explore new solutions to ongoing challenges. So, a lot of benefits there and a lot of ways to partner with us. Coming up soon, we will have info session webinars where we basically just jump on a webinar for a brief amount of time and go over how the program works, what your role would be, answer questions and things like that. And then we also will open up actual enrollment for you to host an intern. And we're going to do all of this in the fall for those who are looking to participate next summer in 2027. So would love to keep you updated on that. If you want some more information, please visit tnpa.org/leading edge or reach out to me directly as Truxon at tnpa.org for more information and to get started. And so that's enough for me. I'm now going to pass it on to our CEO, Shannon.
Thank you, Shelby. Thanks for sharing all of that information and ways to get involved with our student internship program. And thanks to Anne as well for some of that deep dive tour of a few of the policy issues that are certainly occupying our portfolio right now. I will join Vanessa in her warm welcome to our open house today. Really pleased that you are interested and allowed some time to spend with us today. And I will round out our programs P here with a little bit of information about some conferences and some of our workshops and upcoming events. We'll share a link in the chat that has information about all of our pillar programs, and then I'll just spotlight 4 that are coming up here pretty shortly in calendars. The first one is our annual leadership summit. And this is an intensive, action-oriented gathering, senior nonprofit executives collaborating around critical and very timely challenges that we're all facing and addressing. Some of us are thinking about them a lot. And if we're not, we wish we had more time to really think and strategize around them. So this is that dedicated time that we spend together in doing exactly that. We intentionally limit our attendance to 170 people with 15 plus years of experience and currently in VP or higher roles or the equivalent. And we balance the room with nonprofit organizations and corporate partners who work with nonprofit organizations. That's how we define the nonprofit sector here, is that larger space and bringing that value of different perspectives, different resources, and different career experiences. Our corporate attendees for Leadership Summit must be TNPA members. And then for our nonprofit attendees, we offer discounted rates for TNPA member nonprofits. For nonprofits who are considering membership, Leadership Summit is often the pathway in. It's the opportunity to come, to be with other peer leaders, to really experience some of our programming, have those conversations, and kind of try us on for size is the way that I say it. So this is coming up in San Antonio, September 14th to 16th, so not quite 2 months away. And we still have seats available and would love to welcome some new voices to the conversations in the room. Following right behind that is our annual Rising Leaders Summit. And this is a one-day offshoot of our full summit designed specifically for mid-level leaders who are advancing into more senior strategic roles. Both members and non-members are welcome to attend. And the Rising Leaders Summit is our highest rated event every year. This year will be in Philadelphia, October 15th. So if this sounds like something for you or somebody on your team, we encourage you. Registration is open for that as well. I also want to spotlight our year-round Essential Leadership Lab. This is a virtual cohort for senior leaders. We meet monthly, again, virtually, for facilitated discussions around a series of very timely and challenging topics. We open enrollment 3 times a year, and your next opportunity to enroll in that will be coming up in October. This is a TNPA members only event, so something to put on your opportunity list. And then finally, a quick save the date for our annual Nonprofit Fundraiser Symposium. That's always in Washington, D.C. In 2027, it will be March 3rd through the 5th. We present this event in partnership with DMAW, and it is designed for experienced fundraisers, those with at least 10 years of experience. Although I will say many in the room have more than 20 years experience, so lots of wisdom coming together. And the sessions and the keynotes are more strategic and very forward focused versus a lot of the tactical fundraising learning that we can find in many other conferences offered across the sector. Registration for that will open later this fall. So that gives you a little taste of our programming and where TNPA membership can offer you some additional access and some cost savings on registration. So Vanessa, let me wrap up there and hand it back to you for our final P.
Thank you. Thank you. That last P would be for people. Our people are the ones who truly bring all of the advocacy and our programs together and just bring it to life. And so when we come together as a community, we quickly realize that it's the people who sustain us on the hard days and remind us why we do what we do. And when you pull up a chair at TNPA's table, you are tapping into nearly 3,000 nonprofit professionals, over 300 organizations. And whether we're getting together in person or virtually, there really is a special kind of energy when nonprofit leaders connect. That's where partnerships are formed. That is where you quickly realize that you're not operating on an island. You are surrounded by leaders navigating the exact same challenges that you are. They're just maybe getting it from a different lens based off of your own mission. And this year, as Anne mentioned earlier, we did launch a new online community called TNPA Connect, which is making it easier than ever for our members to connect. It provides full access to our member directory, their specialized groups, and other online tools. It's like our private sounding board where you could ask questions, share resources, and provide real-time advice. So there's really no need to reinvent the wheel when you have access to thousands of professionals who can help you with whatever challenge that you're facing. And we aren't shy about playing matchmaker, and I'm not talking in a dating sense here, just strictly peer-to-peer. For example, recently we had a COO who joined, and he mentioned he was looking for IT professionals to just share advice on implementation of new technologies, and we were able to connect him right away. And we really do pride ourselves on being an association that actually knows its members well enough to make those types of introductions on day one. And so because of that, our community is really, truly driven by our members. There are plenty of ways to raise your hands, as you've heard throughout my colleagues' portion, whether that is joining a committee or volunteering on a working group, helping to share our initiatives. It's just really one of the greatest ways to deepen your connections and directly impact the sector. But of course, I might be a little biased as the director of membership. And so that's why I've asked some of our members to join us in the conversation. We do have Alicia Lifrak, CEO and founder of Dragonfly Collective Agency, a commercial member of TNPA, and Viola Cherie, Vice President of Development and Membership at Bread for the World, a nonprofit member. So they will both share kind of their stories on being TNPA members, and we'll start with Alicia.
Thanks, Vanessa. I have had the pleasure of being involved with TNPA since pre-COVID, so that's either 6 years or 2 decades. I've lost track of calendar math in recent years, but really from the get-go, right at the outset, was introduced to TNPA from a member, said, oh, this is an organization you should really look into. So I kind of got involved. I think I might have attended a conference, and then from that, got more involved, started participating in the Essential Leadership Lab, which then graduated into my own active role on the membership committee and the Leadership Summit planning committee. And so I've gotten very engaged. And I would say for me, policy, programs, all of those things are huge value adds, but really the people aspect of it has been the biggest driver for me. We are a relationship-driven sector, especially since 2020, as a lot of us have worked remotely. The opportunity to make those connections, the opportunity to collaborate is more challenging. It's not impossible, but I feel like TNPA has really created an opportunity to do that in a really meaningful way. I can say personally, the networking that is available both for yourself and for your organization are really valid. You meet lots of folks across all aspects of the sector. The people that interact with TNPA are seasoned, talented, dedicated professionals. So you're working with an incredibly diverse set of skills and experiences and perspectives. So that's a unique opportunity that doesn't necessarily present itself in all organizations and all associations, that is. And it's really personal. I can say that I have met a lot of and developed real friends, like people who started as sort of professional colleagues or faces on a screen, who I then ran into in person in some environment, and then have developed genuine friendships. The people who associate with TNPA are caring and committed. They are really dedicated to this sector, not just their own organization or their own mission or their own corporate entity, but really furthering what it means to be a part of this philanthropic sector, what it means to drive the nonprofit agenda. And being a part of that coalition for me has been really inspiring, especially when we are facing challenges, especially when we kind of feel like we've got the headwinds against us. It's a really nice environment to be associated with. So for me, the association, and some of those friends are here on the screen, some familiar faces, but it's really been a hugely valuable experience for me. And it's something that time is my most important and most valuable commodity I have. My commitment of time to TNPA has never been wasted, and I always raise my hand when there's an opportunity to help. I was more than excited to be here today to share with all of you, and certainly make myself available to answer any questions, because it's a really valuable organization. I think the only place where it lacks any value at all is that there are not more members and there are not more organizations and people as a part of it, because I think the strength of our sector is really going to come from our ability to work together and collaborate, regardless of our mission, regardless of our individual objectives, so that we can show up as the powerhouse that we are in the world, being the third largest employment sector in the U.S., being the driver of $500 billion of economic impact. We really need to work together to make a difference, and to make our missions not get pushed to the side, but really drive the important work that we do. So there's a myriad of reasons why I personally get involved in TNPA, and those are just a couple of them, but people is my number one.
Thank you. Viola, Cherie?
Thank you so much, Vanessa and Alicia. I agree with everything that you said. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Viola Cherie Watson. As Vanessa said, I'm Vice President of Development and Membership at Bread for the World. And I'm also someone who serves on the Christian Development Council Advisory Board for TNPA. And I have been a member of the Nonprofit Alliance for 3 years, I think. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization. And when I think about why I am a member of TNPA, the first word that comes to mind is community, very much like what Alicia said. I have spent much of my career in fundraising, and one thing I have learned that no matter how experienced you are, you should never do this work alone. Our profession is constantly changing, as we all know. We're navigating new technology, we're shifting donor expectations, we have evolving regulations, changing policies, and the ongoing challenge of raising the resources our organizations need to fulfill their missions. And TNPA really gives us a place to navigate all of that together. So for me, TNPA has become a trusted professional community. It's a space where I can learn from people who understand the opportunities and the pressures that come with this work. These are colleagues who are willing to share what is working, talk honestly about what is not working, and help one another think through the challenges we all face. And those relationships really matter. Some of the greatest value that I've received through TNPA has come from the people I have met. They are people I can call for advice, people who have introduced me to new ideas and opportunities, and people, as Alicia said, who have become genuine friends. In a field that can sometimes feel competitive or isolating, TNPA really reminds us that there is room for all of us to learn, to grow, and to succeed together. TNPA also gives members access to practical learning. You've heard that from Shannon today. You leave conversations, conferences, and programs with ideas that you can actually use. So whether you're thinking about donor acquisition, retention, technology, leadership, ethics, or even the future of fundraising, you are learning from people who are actively doing the work, and that's so important. Just as importantly, TNPA is a voice for our profession. We heard that earlier. It advocates for the policies, the standards, and practices that allow nonprofits to build strong relationships with donors and continue serving communities. Most of us do not have the time or the capacity to follow every legislative or regulatory development that could affect our work, but TNPA does that for us. It helps to ensure that our sector is informed, represented, and heard. So, why should you join? You're thinking about it if you're here today. I say join because you will find people who understand your work. Join because you will gain ideas that can make you better at what you do. Join because our profession needs a strong and collective voice. And join because some of the relationships you build here may become among the most valuable relationships of your career. TNPA is not simply an organization you belong to, it is a community you participate in, contribute to, and grow with. So I hope you will join us. We would be delighted to welcome you into our community. Thank you so much, Vanessa and Shannon, for inviting me today.
Thank you so much, Viola Cherie. And I do have one more member who is able to join us, Steve Abrahamson from National Audubon Society, a founding nonprofit member. Steve, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, thank you. That was great. I can just add to what Alicia and Viola Cherie said earlier. But I will say yes, I've been involved with TNPA since before TNPA actually existed. And very proud that I was able to have my organization be one of the charter members. So my involvement goes way back. And just following up on what's said before, yeah, community and participation are big parts of the experience, and I think I really value those. Um, I've had the privilege to be part of the Government Affairs Committee, and so really get that insights and understanding of what's going on legislatively, not just at the federal level, but at the state level. And those briefings have been consistently helpful. I've been able to share things with the general counsel of my organization about what's going on with privacy legislation, what's going on with legislation around AI, and making sure that we're up to speed. Uh, and that's been a great resource is, are we following up on this? Do we need to do anything about this with this state? Because we operate all over the country. So that's been wonderful. And to know that, I'm getting the best information. The other thing that I've been able to, especially in the last couple of years, is participate in making some of those conferences that Shannon mentioned come alive. Last year, I served on the um, committee for the nonprofit fundraiser symposium that happens in March, and this year I'm happy to be co-chairing that um, committee in developing the program for that event. And that's the other thing is how much you get out of TNPA is going to be will be how much you can put into it and are able to, but there's openings to be involved, not just to attend conferences, but to help establish the agenda for a conference. If you see and you think there's things we're not covering in a conference or in opportunities or in many of the other things, your voice is valued. You can speak up. And we're small enough, like we want to be bigger, we want more people involved, but we're also still, able to listen to what every member has to say, to what their concerns are, and make sure that we're adapting our programs as we're developing them so they meet the needs. We talked a lot in the committee developing the agenda for the symposium about listening to what people say, listening to what our members are thinking. We look back at the survey responses from previous uh, conferences to make sure we're understanding, we're meeting the needs of our members and the attendees of the conference. So I think there's just a lot of opportunity to be involved. There's a lot of resources you get from the Nonprofit Alliance. So I think it's a great organization. And just kind of following up, it's like, yes, the people, I think the big conferences we put on really are a great opportunity to meet your colleagues around the country, in a lot of different organizations, both at the nonprofits and in the partner organizations that serve. This is a community that I value the people I work with. I value their insights. Every time I talk to somebody, whatever organization they're with or business they're with, I learn something new. And that's just incredibly valuable as we're all navigating so much change. So if you feel like you're good and you got everything and you have no questions and everything's perfect, maybe you don't need the TNPA, but I think for those of us who are still trying to figure out all the answers, it is an invaluable resource to be part of the nonprofit.
Well, thank you, Steve, and thank you, Viola, Cherie, and Alicia. Not only for your time today, and you all named it. I was going to give you recognition for that, but you all named it yourselves, all the ways that you volunteer and participate. Viola, Cherie, I really appreciate the way you said it. It's not just about belonging, it's about participation. And all three of you said that in different ways and in different words. So thank you so much for being here and giving us some of that voice and insight into your experience with TNPA. So as we wrap up our 3 Ps today, I just want to leave you with one final thought on why organizations choose to join TNPA. And it ties together a lot of what we've already shared here today. When we talk about having a seat at the table, we aren't just talking about a professional development perk for an individual staff person, a membership benefit that one person in the organization kind of manages and gets to take advantage of. We are talking about strategic protective infrastructure for your entire organization. We have a bent or some specialization within fundraising and marketing and data space. I always say it's the entire side of the operations shop, at least, who benefit, who participate, who come together, who find some of those connections like Vanessa and others spoke about. Here in 2026, our nonprofit sector is at a crossroads. We are navigating new behaviors and attitudes of donors, everything from giving platforms and understanding how they impact our organizations and our sector, AI, which has come up a couple of times today and every day and every conversation we have everywhere, protecting nonprofits from overreach that threatens our independence and things that we've long taken for granted, frankly, and preparing for major shifts in postal and data privacy regulations and the great wealth transfer. And there's just a lot, as Steve was just capping off his comments to say, there is a lot. And these aren't none of these are challenges that any one organization should face alone or in isolation. So when your organization joins the Nonprofit Alliance, you're ensuring that you aren't just reacting to the future, you're helping to shape the future. You're coming alongside us and so many other member organizations, moving from the sidelines to the decision-making table. And that's where your mission is protected and your voice is amplified. So we want to help you find the right way to plug in for where you are today and from what you need. If you have specific questions about membership or how your team can get involved with Leading Edge, Shelby's internship program, please reach out. Vanessa and Shelby are dropping their calendar links in the chat, and they would love to book a one-on-one meeting to walk through what that looks like for your specific goals and for your organization and your team. If you're going to be at Bridge Conference next week, we will be there too. Please come see us at booth 600. We'd love to meet you in person and continue these conversations, help make some connections, introduce you to some of the peers in the ways that we've talked about today. And we are going to have some live Q&A time. I think there are a couple questions in chat we haven't responded to yet, and maybe others that you all are hanging on to. So before we do that though, we have a very brief 3-question poll that Eddie's going to pop up on your screen right now. Your feedback here will help ensure that these conversations stay relevant and that we're meeting your needs and your expectations. So I'll give you a second to just respond to that. And then Vanessa, once we do, I'll just hand things back to you to lead us through our Q&A.
Yes, most definitely. Feel free to continue to complete this poll so that we know how to continue to engage. The floor is definitely open for Q&A. I do know that one of the questions from Gina was around TNPA Connect and the ability, I guess, for nonprofit for nonprofit professionals who focus primarily on data operations and technology. The great thing about this new resource, we do have the capability of creating specialized groups. So even if we don't have a specialized group that exists right now, it is something that we could easily put together. And so if that is something that you're interested in creating a group around, we certainly do have folks in our membership that focus on exactly these things. So it wouldn't be hard to gather folks together around those topics. We can certainly create the group, and really it's managed by our members too as well. So usually there's one or two kind of main point of contacts that own the space, plus a staff person who will also be in the group, and then it allows for your own message board, so it keeps it concentrated on the topic. You could create resources, file uploads, things of that nature, just for the group, as well as still have the connection to the larger TNPA community as well. I believe there was a question around scholarships and fees that was answered in the chat. We do provide scholarship opportunities for specific programs that you can apply for. That helps with travel costs and sometimes even registration, depending on the program or the scholarship. And then for membership, we do our membership via revenue tiers. And so that is our way of trying to make it equitable based on the size of your organization. So anywhere from 400 to, upwards based on your organization's revenue. And for on the nonprofit side, we do not consider any government funding in that revenue budget size. Are there any other questions? Is the Rising Leaders Summit and Nonprofit Symposium only for nonprofit employees?
Yeah, Vanessa, I can jump in on that one. Amara's question in chat, it went by pretty fast in case anyone didn't see the response. And I appreciate the clarifying question because I only talked about that for Leadership Summit, but in fact, all of the programs that I named, so Leadership Summit, Rising Leaders, Essential Leadership Lab, and our Nonprofit Fundraisers Symposium are all open to both nonprofits and corporate attendees, consultants, et cetera. So we, again, here at TNPA, and it does make us a little bit different than some of the other national nonprofit infrastructure organizations. But here at TNPA, when we talk about the nonprofit sector and our ecosystem, it is inclusive of those external partners who are coming alongside nonprofits to help us deliver our message and mission. So appreciate that question and clarification.
Thank you. Are there any other questions that anyone has at this time with just about a minute left here? Feel free to unmute yourself or a small group. So I'm going to take that wonderful silence as no. But we do appreciate you again for taking the time. As Shannon mentioned, we will be at Bridge. We'd love to see you. Don't hesitate to stop by. We are raffling off some gift cards. So if you did sign up and you are heading to Bridge, you being here counts as one entry. Stopping by the booth will count as a second entry. And if you want a third entry, schedule a meeting with myself or Shelby. We'll be happy to share more one-to-one. We will send out this recording, so if you need to go back for any reason, you'll have that available, and we're always here to answer questions. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.